Good morning. I just got up and I'm about to feed the cats, but here's one of them. But I'm gonna show you how I make my sourdough bread, and I'm gonna go through the whole process from feeding the starter. So tune in and I'll show you how I do it all. Okay, I just want to quickly show you before we kind of get started. Sorry, the cat is meowing. Everything you need to make sourdough, and I have a couple like alternatives if you don't have like the special stuff. So obviously we need our starter. That's going to be our first thing. You can get some starter from me or for a friend or from somewhere. If you're watching this video and you don't live near me or you don't know me, you can always ask like a local bakery that makes sourdough if they have some discard. So yeah, and then we need some flour. This is the King Arthur bread flour, and then I have some water. I always try to use a filtered water, try to use at least room temperature if not warm. And then we have this, what we need to put in when we go into the fridge. If you don't have one of these Banneton baskets, you can use like a tea towel in a, just like a loaf, just like a bread loaf baking dish. And then I got this recently for Christmas, and I really like it to stir the dough, but you can use just like a regular any regular stirring utensil. And then I have this lame, it's for scoring the bread. It's really like a sharp razor blade, but you could just use a regular sharp knife that's not serrated. And I always use like a butter knife when I'm stirring my starter up in the jar. And then lastly, you'll need a glass bowl. So I have like a big, like a Pyrex glass bowl that I usually use. You can use anything. Some people say not to use metal bowls when making sourdough. I've done it before and it's worked, but I don't know. I'm not sure what the reason is. And I also use like a plastic, like Walmart bag at the end when we put it into the fridge for a cold proof. I think that's everything. The last ingredient that you'll add is going to be salt. So what I use is this real salt, the Redmond brand. You can use any other kind of brand like the Celtic. So I probably wouldn't use, you could use Himalayan salt. I just probably wouldn't use like iodized table salt. Use some kind of real salt. So Himalayan, sea salt, Celtic salt, something like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We are using this scale to measure everything so that we can make sure we've got all the right measurements, but that's pretty much it. I'm excited to show you my process. I've been doing this for just a few months, and I've really enjoyed it. I've experimented with some whole wheat loaves. Today I'm just going to show you a traditional with bread flour. A lot of people do mix of all-purpose bread flour, sometimes adding whole wheat. So I'm just going to show you with the bread flour today, and yeah, we'll get started. And just to show you too, this is the recent loaf that I made. It was a little flat, but I thought the inside looked pretty good and it tasted really great. So yeah, this is kind of, I cut the back off because I wanted a small piece, but yeah, I made it 2 days ago and it's already almost gone. But yeah, this has been really good. I feel like this starter is really healthy, and all the loaves I've made have been really good. So yes, thank you for tuning in. And last thing but not least that you need is a thing to bake your bread in. So this is my Dutch oven that I use. I got from, I think it was from Lidl, but you can see how much I've used it. If you don't have one of these, I think you could just bake it in a regular like loaf tin, and then put another thing on top of it as a lid. Some people also for like steam, because we use the lid for it to get steamy inside, so you can get like the crusty like bread, like the loaf on the outside. Some people will put like a pan of water underneath the bread if you don't have like something with a lid. But I've used like a regular bread tin and then put another one on top of it, just so when I didn't have this. So you could do that as well. Okay, so all you need to feed your starter is some water and some flour, and of course you need some starter. So I just pulled my starter out of the fridge so it's nice and cold, so we need to get it warmed up quickly. So I'll show you how I feed it and then where I put it so it can rise. So the one other thing you need is a kitchen scale. So I just have this one. Here is my jar that I'm gonna put the starter in from the jar that it's already in. So you're gonna turn on your scale and make sure it's zeroed out. We're using grams, and I'm gonna put equal parts water, starter, and flour in. So I'm gonna do 50-ish grams of each. I'm gonna take this, might take a minute to, there it goes. Normally I'll just feed it in the same jar, but I wanted to show you just starting into a clean jar. So if you were wanting to get the measurements exact. Okay, I've gone a tiny bit over, but it's okay. You don't have to be super exact. You just want to get in the ballpark. So then I'm going to add my water, but make sure that you zero the scale in between. Okay. You'll notice like the water, there's not as much when you measure it. So that's why, just because the weight of it is different. So that's why you want to use the scale. I'm going to tear that out one more time and do our bread. I'm using King Arthur bread flour for this. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna take, I usually get like a butter knife to stir it. Just easier to stir than a spoon. I'll take it off the scale. That's kind of how it's looking. You just want to stir it till it's nice and all combined. So if you were going to make like 2 or 3 loaves, I would double, like do it like 100 grams if you're making a lot. I'm only making 1, so I'm just going with like 50 because I don't want to use up so much of flour and stuff. So that's good and stirred up. One tip, you don't want to pour any sourdough starter down the drain at all because it'll harden on your pipes and stuff. So even when I'm done using utensils, I'll take a paper towel and just wipe it off. I don't ever pour the discard down the drain. You want to put it into the trash can if you are discarding. So just be mindful of that when you're using this stuff. And so I'm just gonna put the lid on. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see, so I'll take a spoon and kind of push down the sides to where the line is. That way you can see good and well where it's at. And I also take a rubber band and put it around the bottom. What I'm gonna do with this is put the lid on and just gently put the lid on, and I'm gonna put it into the oven with the oven light on, and I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. It usually takes a couple hours to double, so we'll just keep our eye on it and leave it in there. Or if you have an especially warm spot in your kitchen, you could turn the oven on and put it on top of the stove, just somewhere warm where it can grow, and we want it again to double or more. So I just do oven light, and then I have this little sticker that says starter in oven so I don't accidentally turn it on. And I'm just gonna put it right in the middle, wherever. And then off you go. All right, I'll check in when I am gonna start using the starter. You love that, girl. I'm back. Okay, so it's been about 3 or 4, I think it's been 4 hours since I fed, about like 3.5, since I fed the starter, and you can see it's more than doubled. So it's nice and bubbly on the inside, and I'm gonna show you how I mix up the dough. So we're ready to make the dough. So what we need for our dough mix up is our starter, active starter, the flour, the salt, water, our bowl, the scale, and something to mix up the dough. And let me show you too the inside. The inside, you can see how bubbly it is. It looks perfect. This is what we call like ripe active starter. So we're ready to go. All right, so I wanted to give you an angle where you can see me mixing it up. And I will say this starter came from my sister-in-law Hannah, and she made it, and it's a great starter. I haven't had any issues with it. But I'm gonna use the recipe that I use is simple sourdough by Pantry Mama. A lot of people use that, but you can Google it, and I'll try to put a link to it if you're interested in trying that one specifically, or you can follow along and I'll tell you the measurements. So we're gonna start by turning on our scale, making sure that it's zeroed out, and then we're gonna do 50 grams of active starter. You'll notice how easily it'll pour out once it's nice and active. And it's doubled. Awesome. Okay, so that's about 53. It's not gonna hurt it if there's a little extra. Now, before I put the water in, I'm gonna tear the scale again. So make sure you zero it out. And you're gonna add 350 grams of water. All right. Okay. Well, that says 365. So if I ever accidentally go over, I just get a spoon or something and just scoop out that little extra bit. But again, it's okay if it's like 352 or 350 something. That's all right. Just in that range. So I always stir it up before I add in the flour. All right. And then I'm going to zero the scale out again, get my bread flour, and I have my salt. So we're going to add both of those. So we're doing 500 grams of bread flour. Right. Got a little extra. So 500 grams of flour, and then we're gonna add just 10 grams of salt. So zero out your scale and then add your salt. All right, there you go. So, and I've never like measured out exactly how much 10 grams of salt. I bet it's like a tablespoon or so. But now we're gonna mix this up. Want to make sure that you get all the loose flour, not just on the sides, but on the bottom. I actually really love this stirring thing, but just use a regular spoon if you don't have that. make sure that you get underneath, make sure there's no like clumps of flour there also. All right, so this dough is gonna look really shaggy, and that's how it's supposed to look. So we're gonna let it sit for 1 hour so that it can soak in all the water. The water will hydrate the flour. So I would cover this, and I usually cover it with a lid because I have a lid for this bowl, but you could use like plastic wrap or something, or a damp tea towel or something like that. So I'm gonna grab a lid, and I'm just gonna put this in a warm spot, like on the stove top near the oven or somewhere warm in your kitchen, and set a timer for 1 hour. All right, it's been an hour. Been letting the dough sit so it can soak in the water, and now we're going to start some just like folding and stretching of the dough. So in this recipe, the first kind of stretch is not a typical like stretch and fold. It's kind of like we pull all the edges in and then let it sit for another 30 minutes. So I'll show you that real quick and then we'll move on. Okay, looks like this, still a little shaggy looking. So what I'm gonna do is just take the edges and just bring them into the center like that. So you're gonna go all the way around. Let me set this down and then I'll show you when I'm done how it looks. I'm sure you probably could skip this step, but I always just do it. So you just kind of want it to come into sort of like a ball shape. All right, well, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna, see it's kind of like a ball. It is pretty, it's moving around a lot. So I'm gonna let this sit covered in a warm place for another 30 minutes. So cover it up, set your timer. Okay, it's been a little over 30 minutes, but I was outside helping John Henry. So we went a little over, but that's totally fine. And if you ever like have a longer period in between, that's completely fine. One day I mixed up the dough and I did the first little kind of fold over, and then I left the house for like 4 hours and it was kind of cold. So when I came back, you know, not much had changed and it was completely fine. So we are now gonna start our stretch and folds. So I'm gonna, again, just like dampen my hands so the dough doesn't stick. So we're looking good. So what we're gonna do is our first stretch and fold. So you're gonna pick up one side and you're just gonna stretch it up kind of like that. And then you're gonna fold it over and then turn it. You're gonna do this on each side. So you do 4, so you can go around the whole thing. It's okay if it lifts all the way out, just kind of stretch it up. And then we're on the last one. Sometimes I'll even kind of pick it up. You can see, stretch it and then fold it over. And then I'll stick it right back in there with the folded side down, so it's in a little ball shape. Awesome. Now I'm gonna let this sit again with the cover on, and I do this about every 15 to 20 minutes, and I try to do at least 4 stretch and fold. So you're just gonna repeat this about 4 times. I wouldn't do more than about 6. That's what the recipe says that I usually follow, but I kind of have it memorized now, so I just do about 4, maybe 5 stretch and folds, and then we'll let it sit out for its bulk ferment. Okay, I'm back for stretch and fold number 2, and you'll notice as you continue to do this that the dough is like harder to like manipulate. But the first couple aren't hard. Again, we'll stretch it up and then just fold it over. Do that on all 4 sides. right, and then another 15 or 20 minutes. I'm really not keeping a timer, it's just coming back when I think about it. Okay, I think this is number 3 on the stretch and folds. Let me just wipe my hands a little bit. And then let me get where you can see. So this basically gives the dough like the structure, all the bubbles and stuff like that. Okay, and then we'll do one more and then we'll let it sit for its bulk ferment. All right, coming in for the last stretch and fold. I'm gonna just get my hands damp again. And stretch it. Then we're gonna leave it in the bowl, and you can put it somewhere warm, like on top of the stove or something, or near the oven or just somewhere warm in your kitchen, because we're gonna leave it to sit until it doubles or just under doubles. You don't want it to go more than double the size that it is right now, because that'll overproof and then you won't get the structure of the dough. It'll be really flat. That's happened to me before. So anyways, yeah, just set this somewhere warm, and it'll probably take until like right before bed. It's right now it's 3:21, so I'll probably leave it and then check right before I go to bed, and then it'll probably be ready by then. So yeah, just put it somewhere warm and wait. I should have mentioned at the beginning that this is an all-day affair. You can always work it around your schedule if you have to leave and come back, or if you're working at the house. I would usually pick a day that you know you're gonna be home so you can do all this. And then the next time you bake it, that's only gonna be like an hour or so. So it won't be an all-day thing. So once we wanna bake it tomorrow, we'll just have to preheat the oven, put it in there, and bake it. And that'll be it. Okay, it is now 9:09. I need to go to bed, so I'm going to shape up the dough and put it in the fridge. And I'll show you how I do that. But also let me show you, the dough has got some nice bubbles. It's looking really good. And on the bottom, you can look and see like all those bubbles. That's a good sign that we've got some, we have a good rise. It didn't quite double, but it's just under doubled. I don't want it to go more than that, so I'm gonna go ahead. I won't leave it out overnight because I don't want it to overproof. So I'll show you how I do this. All right. Sorry, the lighting is not good. It's dark outside. So I'm just gonna get some flour my surface so the dough won't stick. And then I'm gonna get it out onto this surface. And this part I'm honestly not very good at, so I do the best that I can. So if you want some better like dough shaping instruction, you can always just YouTube or Google that. I haven't been doing it for a super long time, so just bear with me on this one. At the end there, I had my oven on and it was just sitting on top of the oven so it could be warm because it's really super cold outside. All right, I also will get a little bit of flour and go on top. So it's kind of flat right now. And what I do is take one side and I just roll it over, kind of like a cinnamon roll, like log. First I'll do that. It's hard, it's sticky. Okay, and then turn that upside down, and then we're gonna take that end, so it's that roll upside down, and we're gonna take this end of it and do that same thing, roll it in on itself. So then it's kind of like that. And then what I try to do is kind of just rotate it. And this kind of helps to give it some like tension. And roll it, and then kind of slide it. I'm just gonna flour the inside of this gently. And then I'm gonna take this, this is the top, and I'm gonna put the top on the bottom, so it's gonna flip upside down. So you're gonna pick it up, try not to let it stick to you, and then put it in upside down. So lastly, I will, you can use both hands, but like try to kind of pinch it. So like pinch, it's hard to do this with one hand. I can probably set this up. Yeah, okay, yeah, so you like pinch it so it stays, try to keep its shape. All right. So I just put it in the fridge. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. We have church in the morning, and then I'm gonna come home afterwards and I will bake the bread and I will show you how I do it. I'm excited for you to see, and I hope you've enjoyed this video series following me along in my day of prepping some sourdough. This is a lot of fun for me. I enjoy working with my hands, so I hope that you enjoy this. And awesome. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Daisy. Hey girl. Hey, I'm back and it's the next day, and I'm gonna bake the bread. So first I'm gonna get my Dutch oven out of the cabinet, and then I'm gonna put this in the oven and hit preheat to 450. And so keep the dough in the fridge until we're preheated, and then I'll show you what I do next. Sorry about all the noise. I'm making dough for pizza tonight in the bread machine. All right, the oven is all preheated. I just took my dough out of the oven, and I have my little lame, sharp thing to cut and score, or you could just use a regular knife. I wouldn't use a serrated knife, just a smooth one like this will work better for the actual scoring of it. And I have a piece of parchment paper. And sometimes it'll stick, so I'm actually gonna just flour that lightly. A little bit of flour onto the parchment. And now I'm gonna take the dough and I'm gonna flip it over. I'm going to dump it out. All right, beautiful. And then gently flour the top so that when we do our score, it'll show up. Beautiful. Okay, can you see everything? I don't know why I'm asking. All right, so I'm gonna take this and do I'm just gonna do like one, maybe I'll just do two. Can you see that? All right, so I'm just gonna go a deep score. You do want it to be a deep. And I'm gonna do another one alongside it. All right, can you see that? And then I'll just do some shallow cuts right in the middle. All right, this is what it looks like. I took the lame and I went on either side, and then I just did some little shallow cuts across. And we have flour on there so it will show up nicely. All right. Then we're gonna take our Dutch oven out of the oven. Take the lid off, make sure you wear some stuff, and then put it right in there. Uh-oh, I think my guess. Oh, hold on. Hold on. We're gonna put it in the oven for 30 minutes. Can you tell? Are we related? Twins? Are we twins? All right, the timer just went off and I'm gonna get the bread out and I'll show you what it looks like on this in-between part. Okay. So we take the lid off. It's looking really good, and we're gonna put it back in for 15 minutes, okay? All right, the oven is going off. We're gonna get the bread out. Wow, that looks beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna take it out and put it on a cooling rack, and I'll show you how it looks. There she is, a beaut. She's beautiful. All right, I'll show you later when I cut into it, but they say to let it sit for about at least an hour. Some people say 3 to 4 hours. So I usually just wait till it feels cool and then you can cut into it. Just wanted to show you how the bread turned out. It looks so beautiful. I'm gonna cut into it so you can see the middle. All right, look at that. Beautiful. And I'm so excited to eat this. But I will show you, I wanted to cut down the center, but I'll show you the knife that I love to cut slices with. This was another Christmas gift that I love. So you can easily get like really thin pieces. Look at that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this journey with me to make sourdough. I love doing this. I love having homemade bread, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And please like and subscribe and comment for more. Anyways, have a great day. I love you and Jesus loves you. and I'll see you next time.